Welcome Yin Yogis to our practice today, Yin using a bolster. My name is Eleni and I will be guiding you. Today we will be using a yoga bolster or a bed pillow, and you can have a beach towel or a blanket close by. Let's begin in our first posture, which is our supported bridge pose using a bolster. So we'll come all the way down onto the back, keeping the knees bent, pressing down through the feet, lifting the hips and sliding our bolster underneath the sacrum area. And then we do have choices here. So what feels good for the back body? If you would like to keep the knees bent and the feet flat, or you can start to extend the legs, heels to each corner of the mat. The neck should be long here and the back of the head is soft. The arms might float beside the body with the palms facing up. So just exploring here, we might come into our supported shoulder stand as well, lifting the legs and having a micro bend through the knee. So these are three options here. I just encourage you to choose where you would like to be for this hold. If it's more comfortable for the palms to rest on the belly or the rib cage, feel free to find that placement. And once we find our place of stillness, the shape that feels best for us, let's begin to focus here on our breath. Breathing in deeply in through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. Begin to allow your breath to carry you into our practice today. Feel the soothing and gentle belly breaths. Start to release any excess energy, any mental or physical tension, as we give ourselves permission to be present with our bodies, with our breath, with our practice. So this practice is guided towards showing you ways that you can use this prop in your Yin yoga practice. And of course, if we don't have a traditional yoga bolster, I always just encourage a long bed pillow. You can even stack 2 pillows here. Starting to arrive here and now in this present moment. If an intention or dedication arises, feel free to set this intention. Allowing a couple more breaths here, breathing into the sensations. We'll begin to release. If your legs are lifted or extended to the corners, go ahead and bend the knees and bring the feet flat. We'll lift the hips by pressing down through the feet and come all the way to earth. We might hug the knees here for a gentle squeeze. And then moving into constructive rest, bringing the feet as wide as the mat and the knees fall in towards one another. Perhaps big windshield wipers here, bending the knees. Knees fall to one side and then the other. just observing the movement of energy through the lower body, noticing the experience of our rebound here. I'll always encourage you to find a different variation if it feels best for you. And let's go ahead and roll onto one side and press up. We'll move into our seal pose with a bolster. So bringing our bolster underneath the rib cage here, you can also slide it a little bit further underneath the belly so that your chest is supported here on the bolster. And then we'll bring the hands to the corners of the mat, fingers spreading wide, finding our back bend. So adjust the bolster as needed so that you feel supported and it's enough of a back bend for you. However, I would like to caution against taking a deep back bend here if you're having any type of sharp sensation. You don't have to use the bolster for this pose. You can come into a traditional sphinx or even just rest in a crocodile, stacking the palms one on each hand and then resting the forehead so your belly would be connected to the earth. So please listen to your body. Your body is your greatest teacher, and know what feels appropriate for you. Knowing that all of these postures are suggestions, and it's so important for us to listen to our body's cues on what's enough and what can be too much, and the beautiful middle road of finding the effort and the ease, not too much and not too little. So finding your back bend, whether you're using the bolster here in seal or you're on the belly resting or taking sphinx. Finding that edginess where we can commit to the stillness of the posture, but feeling the energetics here. Noticing the depth. Notice if anything starts to soften. If we feel the space created in the tissue. Relaxing our jaw. Last few breaths. And so gently we release. If you're using your bolster, you're just going to press up a little bit and slide it out. Let's all rest on the belly for crocodile. Noticing the rebound, we pause to receive. Observing this quality of stillness. Just a few more breaths here, just softening, feeling the belly pressing into the earth, expanding and contracting gently. Bringing the palms underneath the shoulders, gliding back. Let's move into our child's pose here. This is a restorative child's pose with our bolster. So we'll bring the knees a little bit wider and snuggle the bolster between the thighs so that the upper body and torso can rest on the length of the bolster. So have your forearms connected to the earth. The elbow will be bent. We'll relax the side of the face, one side, and then we'll take the other after a little bit of space and time here. So this is actually a beautiful restorative child's pose. We'll go ahead and switch cheeks here, gazing in the opposite direction, making sure that we're even on both sides of the neck. If we've had a long day, you can come into a gentle restorative child's pose for rest. It's a wonderful way to support the body, to wind down, soothe our nervous system. And gently we begin to release, walking the palms back, releasing our bolster. As we come to switch sides here, we're going to move into our saddle pose. So I'd like to pause here and just state that this pose may not be for everybody. If it's not, come onto the back and hug the knees to the chest. You can also take this pose without reclining backwards. So full saddle, you'll have your inner thigh drawing inward and your heels to the outer edge of your hips. And then you'll work the bolster so it's at the edge here, connected to the low back. And you'll start to descend backwards as far as is comfortable for you. This can be quite a deep back bend and may not be safe for everybody. And here's where our blanket would come in handy, or even a block just to support the head and the neck. So once again, if this is too much for the knees, low back, if it's just not comfortable, you can stay in a thunderbolt position where you're seated on a block and you keep your knees bent here. So you're just in a seated kneeling position. Or you can come on your back and hug your knees into your chest for a wind relieving pose. Wherever you choose to land, start to find that quality of stillness and subtle, energetic movement. And start to notice the quality of the breath. Notice the texture of the breath. the length of the inhale and the exhale. If you are reclined here on your bolster and would like to deepen the stretch through the chest and the shoulders, feel free to reach the arms overhead and maybe interlace the fingers. If we're not comfortable here, the arms are in the air, you can also bring your hands behind the skull so you're coming into a little bit more of a support here. Nice deep and slow breaths. Finding a gentle body scan, noticing from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. Let's give about 5 to 8 more breaths here. If your arms are overhead, you can start to release. And then we'll gently lift. So if you're reclined, go ahead and use your forearms to press up. We're going to come forward, snuggle the heels in so you're in a thunderbolt, and then release. Good. Release our bolster here out of the way. Come into a traditional child's pose just to counteract that deep back bend here. Slowly lifting here. And we'll prepare for our next pose, which is frog pose. I will be demoing here from the side, but you're welcome to come onto the long way of your mat, using your blanket to support your knees, bringing the bolster underneath the shoulders. Here is an example of baby frog with the toes together. And then if you want to move your way into full frog, you would start to work your heels out so the toes are pointing out. And then rest your upper body on the bolster here. So So you can see I'm using the bolster horizontally here just to kind of support the upper arms. You can also take it vertically along the belly and kind of rest like we were doing in child's pose, just depending on the depth here of the groin and the inner thigh. Now, this isn't a very relaxing or restorative posture. This can be quite intense, the sensation. So if you need to come out, you can peel back just a little bit, coming into baby frog, bringing the toes to touch. Finding that edginess here, breathing into that space. Knowing it's okay. It's okay for there to be an intensity here. You start to feel like you can lower. You might just snuggle your chest onto the bolster. Do what works for you. It might just take a little wiggling around here to get settled with the upper body. And ideally in this posture, we want the hips in pretty square alignment with the knees. So we don't want to flop forward onto the belly. Nice deep breaths here. The target area is the groin and the inner thigh. We can often hold a lot of tension here just through our day-to-day walking, doing activities. One more minute, we're almost there. Beautiful work. Slowly begin to release. We'll walk the hands beside the body and press up. Wiggle the knees in through the center here. Sit back on the heels and release the bolster. And we'll come all the way down onto the belly and take a crocodile pose. Maybe let the feet splay out wide, heels falling inward. Perhaps reverse windshield wiper, bending the knees, tick-tocking the feet right to left. Pressing back here, we're going to move into a downward facing dog. So spreading the fingers wide, Bending one knee, bending the other, just shifting through the hips here. Releasing back, we'll come into our final posture and shape here, which is heart bench. So perhaps bringing that blanket behind to support the back of our head. And we'll start to bring the bolster underneath the rib cage, so more like lung bench actually. And then the head is going to rest on that other prop, whether it's a block, blanket. Options for the legs. Feet can come together and the knees wide, finding your butterfly. You can also extend the legs long or keep the knees bent and the feet flat, whatever supports you. And then just feeling that beautiful lift here through the upper body, the rib cage, the chest, the heart. We often do this posture with 2 blocks, so just know that this is an option for you, especially if it's more comfortable because of the padded coziness of the bolster. You can always do this variation. Relaxing the face, softening the forehead and jaw. Palms can face up here beside the body, sign of receiving. Allowing a few more deep and full breaths, slow and relaxed. If the knees are wide, go ahead and bring the knees in. We're going to roll onto one side to come out today, just because we're a little bit higher up than we would be on a block. And just finding our forward fold here, hinging from the hips, keeping our knees bent, drawing the chin towards the chest, allowing a soft rounding through the upper back. A little bit of C curve here, bringing the chin towards the chest. Slowly we begin to lift. If there's any other movement here that you'd like. And we're gonna work our way into our master pose. So grab that bolster here and we're gonna slide it underneath the knees for our supported Shavasana. Please take any other movements if you need them here, maybe a twist or a happy baby. Of course, take space to find that special place where the body can completely release and relax. And then once you are comfortable, you feel like your physical practice is complete, let's make our way all the way down to earth, bringing that bolster underneath the knees, supporting our low back. And if you do have a blanket, feel free to bring the blanket along the body, nice and snuggly and warm. So noticing the changes that have occurred in this journey today. Feeling that slow shift of the tissue, the bone, the circulation and longevity promoted here by our practice. Feeling any sensation and then releasing it. Allowing the body to surrender here, being held and connected to the earth below, inviting a sense of nurturing, nourishment, restoration, and kindness as the body relaxes. Slowly allowing the movement to make its way to the fingers and toes, the ankles and wrist. Maybe starting to extend the arms overhead and pointing the toes forward, taking a full body stretch. Drawing the knees into the chest and so gently rocking onto one side. Pressing down here as we come into our easy seats, or you can also sit on the bolster here, straddling it. So this is a way to kind of stabilize the pelvis. Bringing the hands to the heart space, or reaching up and over, pulling all of your beautiful inner light into the heart space. Thank you all so much for joining me, wishing you peace, love, and light. If you do enjoy guided meditation, please check out my sister channel, Mindful Metta. The link is listed in the description below. Please continue to like, comment, or subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Thank you so much. Namaste.